Yes? I have allied myself with many of the lower planes throughout my life, and yes, we have had dealings before. Through him, I was able to achieve my goals and learn mysteries long sought lost, especially those concerning the Sword of Gith. I see little harm in telling you now. I think there is some measure of trust between us, and if the blade is lost again, then you may need to seek the same sources as I. The lower planes have watched since evil existed, and since before Gith led her rebellion against the Mind Flayers. And when Gith had achieved victory, it is known she went to the lower planes to seek allies, and did not return. Yes, and one such set of eyes, a Beatazu prince known as the Still Lord, sees much indeed. He lies imprisoned in the lower planes, and he can do little more than watch from his cage. And so I sought him, and he was able to reveal to me the location of the blade. There was a price, yes. There was a price I was willing to pay, and it was little more than I had already paid for the service of my other infernal allies. In fact, it is through the Still Lord that I gained the allegiance of Mephazum. For while the Still Lord may not move freely, Mephazum may. Perhaps. But defeating the King of Shadows was my goal, and I needed the blade. But that is all. With that knowledge, I was able to find the blade and carry on the war. No, Gith and her blade had become separated. Gith's fate remains a mystery to me, and I did not ask the Still Lord where she walks now. No doubt. I did, but before I could reach the other statues, the Shadow Reaver arrived. And even with my allies, I could not stand against him. Now each of us bears the necessary pieces of the ritual, and together, we are the only ones who can harm him. Like it or not, we need each other if we are to succeed. If the Githzerai did not already explain, the ritual is designed to unmake the Ilfarn Guardian, which the King of Shadows once was. And still is, in part. But the Guardian is a shell, a vessel for what the King of Shadows has become. When it drew life from the Shadow Weave long ago, it became something else, something greater. Still, its outer skin is that of the Guardian. We must break that armor first, and once shattered, then we may strike at his essence. We must do it within the King of Shadows' fortress, as near to his heart as possible. Within the Mare of Dead Men, or the Merdelaine as the Druidess calls it. There is where we must go. Yes, I know. I do not know how to defeat such a shield yet, but we must find a way. To do that will require the Sword of Gith, which you carry with you. The silver swords of the Githyanki are the only weapons I have seen that have harmed the King of Shadows, and the Sword of Gith is the mightiest of such weapons. No. I do not know. Greater than nothing, I suspect, but it is a chance we must take. The ritual I have gained seems to allow me to create a web of light. Should the King of Shadows split his form into many shadows, such a web is useful. Any shadow spawned from him that enters it will be caged, unable to get out. While such a power has a limited use outside his fortress, it will be necessary for us to beat him. It may seem that way, but I believe the closer we get to the King of Shadows, the more use we will get out of them. Here, now, we may only be able to use them once every day before their power is expended. The closer we get to our enemy, we may be able to use them much more, and with a greater effect. No doubt. I have only recently escaped my imprisonment in the lower planes. And since then, I have fought to re-establish my stronghold and gather my forces, which you have ruined with your carelessness. The lower planes has many cells and many agonies. At the close of the war against the King of Shadows, I was cast there. Not yet dead, but soon wishing that I was. Fortunately, in those infernal prisons, I gained strength and tolerance for pain. I had assistance from the Arcane Brotherhood of all organizations. One among them sought information on the King of Shadows and freed me, but they were careless, and I was easily able to slip free of them once summoned. From there, I was also able to rectify certain injustices in Neverwinter as well, before beginning my campaign against the King of Shadows anew. A man named Black Garius summoned me, a man I suspect you already have some history with. I think he sought some means by which to control the King of Shadows, a foolish quest, but he has no doubt already paid the price for such a goal.